Hey guys, what's going on? Here with Coach V right now. Gonna just take a quick minute to talk about a couple of things that he has going on.
Boy, you're big time, by the way, man. I mean, this place he has now here, folks, man. If you haven't been here, come out here. This is big time.
Thank you, appreciate that. So, Coach V, we know that you do a lot with the basketball community, but we're gonna take a minute just for those that don't know who you are and kind of what you have going on. Take a minute to just give people, the elevator pitch about who you are, and then we're gonna talk about your next event that you have coming up. Actually, that's starting this weekend.
Man, it's probably about 30 years in recruiting industry in general. I mean, from running exposure camps to the old college prep academy, and then prior to that, coaching collegiate basketball. Man, I've got about 30 years experience in trying to do different things for kids. Not only when I was recruiting them at the college level, but now my life's kind of dedicated to helping them get recruited. In a nutshell, but I'm still in the space that I enjoy being in.
Nice. And, one of the things that I've always respected about you since we first met was your actual history as a college coach at the different levels. So I know we have a lot of people out here, trying to help the kids, but they've never actually been in the shoes of an actual college coach. Because there's not a lot of people that have been like a college coach like you that are now doing the type of work that we do.
Man, you probably, if you really, we go back probably 8-9 years now, but if we went back 30 years, what you'd really respect, there's a lot of college guys, and there's some college guys, and this is not a knock, man, they don't put in the work, and then there's guys that win championships every year, and they go all over the place. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm more proud in college of, whether it be at Olu or McMurray or some of the places I didn't have the big recruiting budget. So to win championships and grind and work because of my passion and love for the game, man, that's what I most enjoy looking back at my collegiate years, was winning with kind of a lesser hand. You got to play the cards that you're dealt.
And you had to recruit yourself. You had to find that talent for your own
team.
team.
I didn't have a big budget. So when I see guys even on the college guys that call me the most, that text me the most, yeah, I'm going to work with them harder. I want college coaches to know I'm working really hard to kind of cut the gap of what they're trying to do and save them budget. But at the same time, man, I respect those coaches that are always at events, always calling, whether it be mine, yours, Hicks. There's winning's winning. And so that's my same mindset with when you talk about my collegiate career that I'm probably most proud looking back is just finding that 3-star kid and being able to win with that kid that maybe others wouldn't recruit.
And just going back on your history a little bit, you showed me something today that was actually very, very impressive. What I'm holding here is not an encyclopedia. It looks like what?
It's from '96, man. That's the old days.
This big professional published book here, and it's called A Basketball Recruiting Guide for NCAA Division I, II, and III by Russell Scott Van Landingham. Guys, this guy is serious. This is a manual.
That's my thesis.
This is a thesis he wrote. And for those that don't know what a thesis is, like whenever you go to college, I know we talk about a lot of 4-year, but when you want to go and get your master's degree, your final project is you have to write a thesis, which is basic. I thought a thesis was just a paper, but apparently it's a freaking book. But this is something that Coach V has written, and that it's a recruiting guide. So he showed me this today. This is the first time that I've ever seen this, and I know that you know a lot about the game. I know that you know how to.
That's called an obsession.
I know that you're obsessed with helping kids get recruited, but this is amazing, man. This is actual recruiting. You wrote a recruiting book.
If you look in there, and it's still, it really kind of ties to what I do. You talk about my collegiate coaching career, but really that's the past. What's the present is UCExposure and what I'm doing today for a living. And the reason I'm saying that is I got to stay current with what the college coaches of today need. It's been 9 years since I've been on 9 or 10 years since so staying current and studying what they need, the scholarship packages, that has helped me create the results for Uncommon not just because I know people. You gotta stay knowledgeable.
And you do a lot of work. I know that we talk,
But but if you look at this boards later, man, I'll leave it here. You'll see I was interviewing coaches all over the country, studying their brain before I was one of them. I was trying to get into college coaches when I wrote that, and man, I've been obsessed with recruiting, and that's probably why I don't have a real job yet. I'm still running events and staying around the game.
That's awesome. Well, that was impressive when you showed it to me today. So let's move on now and talk about your camps, your UCExposure camps. You have one coming up this weekend in San Antonio, which is March 12th. But before we dive into like some of the players that's going to be there and kind of do a preview, give us an overview for those players, parents, coaches, anybody who doesn't know what you do, like, or what the UCExposure camp piece of what you do is. Give us an overview of what that is.
Man, this is, like I said, this is all about my vision, what I thought 6 years ago. It didn't happen overnight. Kind of like winning or creating a coach at a program doesn't happen overnight. Man, 6 years ago, the vision of creating a platform where every kid is relevant, instead of, telling them, promising the college dream, promoting progress, and then putting them in the spring in a setting where you can eliminate or, I guess, showcase. And the 48-player platform.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of give an overview. So your UCExposure camp. What is your UCExposure camp?
That's a 48-player. By the time we hit the spring, and we're talking about spring camp, so let's just stay with the spring camp. By the time I get to the spring, I've used the summer and the fall to discover the most talent, but I've also tracked their progress, and so those are going to fill about half of my events. In other words, a kid that's walked the walk that I thought could be good because of hunger and all the things that we're looking for in my fall events. Man, now these kids are all region district MVPs, they're all state, they have walked the walk. I've been able to track their progress. And then these other kids, I'm not going to sugarcoat it that were told they were Division I in the fall. Man, yeah, I was recruiting them to come to my camp. They don't want to listen to me. They're in the camps now. So what does that do for my events? I've got 48 kids Saturday that are all region, which means they were an elite varsity player, because you said some parents may not know that. I've got 12 all-state kids. I've got 11 district MVPs. So that's a lot of elite players in one setting. Mm-hmm. Lights come on, I'm seeing who the last 9 are standing. I actually want to get their school paid for. Doesn't mean others are going to be hurt or what. You're getting a real shot in one day to go from an elite varsity player, look at your stats, to getting your school paid for. At a showcase, we talked about that before we started. Man, there's 170 kids there. There may be more college coaches there, like maybe 8 to 10, but about 100 of those kids probably average about 6 on varsity. Nothing against that. They weren't really passionate. They averaged 6, so it's about 100 kids in there that are just being lost in the shuffle, paying. I don't do that. I don't want to.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about your events is 48 kids, and like you said, they're all elite players. Very good talent. That's one of the things that I like about working your events, which I'll be working your event this weekend is, and it's so important for players to be put in a situation where they're playing against and competing against other good talent, and your events are packed with good talent. So that's one thing that I like. It also sounds like you mentioned, so you have multiple exposure camps, but they're not just one-day deals. Like when the kids that participate in those, after the fact, you review them, you keep track of their progress, and then also you invite them to future camps where they can continue to compete and compare and see how they match up.
I'm going to be brutally honest. The kids that came to my fall events, I mean, really UCExposure is a 9-month platform. I mean, the guys that have gotten the highest potential offers, and yes, it's Division I. We talked about it. If you're Division I want to get you the highest potential offer. But you're not going to trick a college coach. You're not going to trick me, like I said, when I was making those decisions. But the platform itself, like, it's set up and designed where you can't hide amongst the masses. You are an elite varsity player. So now put them in a 4.5 setting. That strive for the 9 formula we talked about. If you finish in the top 9, that means you have everything a college coach is looking for. You have to have hunger. You got to be tough. You got to play under duress. Yeah, you want to run towards that. Some people run away from it. I think the results have started getting kids to run towards UC exposure. They're intrigued by what's going on. How are all these kids getting offers? I'm better than Bobby. Well, no. Bobby has a bigger motor. He's more serious. He's the same player.
I think
things of that nature are why I created Uncommon, because those are things I wanted to know when I had to call Boris and send Boris's kid a scholarship. So I want kids to have a real shot, not go to 12 showcases. We're looking for results Saturday.
Yeah, I noticed that at your events, you have these 48 players in a controlled environment. You put them through some rigorous training. You put them up against each other. You want to see who the dogs are out there. And like you said, you can see the people that really want it. You can see the guys that aren't trying to be cool, because that's one thing too. Is with
and
high school,
there's a hint. There's a hint right there. You can't trick a college coach. When a college coach is looking at you, I'll prep these kids. I want them to succeed. People don't know. 30 minutes before my spring camp, I have a talk before the coaches walk in the gym when we check in.
Oh, also on that note, so are there going to be coaches at your event on Saturday?
Yeah. There's coaches there, and people ask that. And here's what's different about Uncommon. And I'll say this again, and results are result. I've got results up on my website now at uncommonbasketball.com. You can scroll down and push results. 129 offers now, 17 this year. So the reason I'm saying that is I'm blessed with relationships. I'm not really the agent type because, again, I want kids to kind of morph to their highest potential level instead of just saying, hey. So I have 4 college coaches working my camp this weekend again, and they have templates they turn into me. I have no ego at night when I go, and I got 9, the Ranger college coach who knows everybody, Coach Brown, turns me 9 sheets in with his experience. I'm blessed. And it's level of play, style of play. It's coaches talk to coaches mindset, but I'm getting professional input.
Yeah, that's good. So you get evaluations by actual college coaches that are working your events and or have been looking at the kids players for
lots of credit to my staffs who understand what I'm doing, and not the fact there's going to be 20 coaches there. Maybe not. There's coaches, but there's going to be 50 coaches that call me after events when I start posting top prospects, asking questions. And now we're adding that top prospect package. I've been working so hard to understand, and now I got a top prospect package. And what that is, Boris, man, like we talked about, is at the end of the event, if you're in the top 12, and in the top 12 at my camp, it's the last 9 standing, winning that last 9-on-9 game. You've earned it. You had to win your way into that game. And then 3 staff picks. That's how I get my 12. So those 12 kids are going to be in a top prospect package, very affordable. I'll build their link. I'll build their list. And over the next 60 days, I'm going to circulate them, share them. Every time a coach is looking for a 4, they got to sign the kid, but it's the after the camp that leads to the results.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important, and one thing to kind of highlight with your obsessive nature in this sport. When the kids play in your event, or the players, I gotta stop calling them kids, but even though I am like twice their age,
kids, they're
young.
But
whenever the players play in your events, and you kind of dwindle it down to the top prospects, 12 players or so, then they go into your database of your kind of special select group where you're sharing
now
them.
it's bumped. I mean, I'm paying a company out of Houston. I mean, you can call it a partnership, but I've been waiting a long time for the right partner. They can do all the technology stuff, and within 24 hours have that kid's profile on my site.
Yeah.
I can plug that kid into college list based on the evaluations from Coach Brown, Coach Shelton with Texas Prep, who's a longtime college coach,
and plus
Coach Ebram coming down from HPU. Those guys are working my camp. So again, once I do my post-camp notes and the way we formulate the top 12, we're plugging those kids in immediately. And then after the camp, 400, 500, 600 coaches, maybe at the 2 targeted levels. This is where parents may or may not like to hear it, My job is to secure you the highest potential offer based on professionals, based on professionals' templates, projected level. If you want to go D1 and prep and yada yada and waste a lot of money, good luck. And we're trying to secure the right fit for the right kids so your school can be paid for. That takes months after a camp. Now I can just do it more efficiently.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that so that's a great exposure package because like you're saying, number one, we know that the connections are important, right? We got to have coaches that are hungry looking for players, but then once you make the connection, which is what you've done, which is the hard part, now you need to have some type of information or content to show them, and that's where the actual in-depth, detailed player evaluations written by college coaches from your event comes into play. So when you do share that link or you share that information.
And I know you do a great job with this, but like some people pay for highlights and highlights are good. I'm paying for my what I call a recruiting game plan. You're paying a one-time fee. I want results.
Yeah, and it's all packaged together. So
right.
I guess what I'm just trying to emphasize is a player will have a lot that they can show to a coach from your event because if they're one of the top 12, they're going to have some type of written evaluation about themselves. And then also, I'll be working your event, providing highlights for players. So if they did want to order a highlight film, they can have a highlight film, a written player evaluation, and all of that to go on their profile that you'll be sharing with your network of coaches. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that's the way that you market a player. In my eyes, and I know that I do the.
This goes back to your first question. I'm marketed with 21 years of having to offer at every college level. I ain't saying that makes me better. It's unique. We've talked about that.
Everyone's different.
When I've coached Division III, and I know what a Division III player is, some of these parents think they should have went to the Mary Harm Baylor, Trinity game. That's basketball. That's high-level college basketball. I mean, I know what an NAI player is like. You saw the clips. We were jacking around. I was number 2 and number 3 in the country. I was a top 5 program. But again, so I was there sitting on the bench. I know what you have to win at that level. So it's not just about understanding what level you have. Again, to secure an offer, it's style of play, it's fit, it's all of that. So the top prospect package is going to be a huge enhancer of my camp because I suck at technology, as you know, with my Dropbox skills. And now I don't have to do that. It's the in-person evaluations. And I'm not a profile company, and I always told this when parents said they got robbed by company A, B, and C. And I said, did they see your son in person? It's same thing at the showcase, averaging 6 in varsity. You're probably not putting in or didn't do that from 6th grade on to put yourself in that position. I'm not saying you don't dream or go for it. I ain't here to sell a dream. The top prospect package, it's what's on that profile, who's sharing it, to stay credible, and where it's being shared to.
Yeah.
That secures offers.
All in
that's
important.
Really what it is. If you're on a master database of 200,000 basketball profiles with other sports, then they better know how to find you in a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of wrap this up because I know we wanted to kind of keep this at about 20 minutes, and we're at about 19 right now, but still a couple of things that we need to go over. So number one, what are some of the other states and locations that you're going to be traveling to? Just real quick, high level. We can do another show some other time and go more in depth. But what are some other locations? And then talk to us briefly about the event this weekend in San Antonio, and maybe drop a couple of the players' names that's going to be in there.
Well, I'm using from a connection standpoint. I am using my connections now that COVID is kind of behind us to go to cities and states that. I've got a strategy for that too. Those are the states that I'm going to be going: Oklahoma City, Orlando, and New Orleans. Those are states and areas when I was a coordinator that have a lot of D2, NAI, and junior college buddies of mine. So it's good to reestablish those relationships, bring Uncommon, not just to run the camp there, but reestablish those relationships with the levels that are mostly following my leads and looking at kids and trying to find credible resources. They got lesser budgets. So that's part one, but it's going to be cool, man. Oklahoma City, shit, I get to be in the Thunder's practice facility because of connections with Sam Presti.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. If you ain't a kid that don't want to be in, like, go in there and 48 players, and I'm going to have 4 colleges, coaches on staff out there that are buddies of mine. I've already got that. But we're going to be in the the Thunder practice facility. New Orleans, there's only 2 events. Mal Mundy, man, he's the king of New Orleans. He runs tournaments like kind of guy, so he is the guy. So knowing Mal, for him to let me come into a city, he knows that it's a dead period, so coaches can only go to one event, and you've got to be in the host city. That's going to be a cool event in New Orleans to have a 48 player in the downtown during the Final Four. So there will be a lot of coaches, and again, maybe not whether they're on site or not. I could be seeing them that night at a Final Four event, saying, "Man, there was 3 kids at my event today. Here's his profile. Boom, it's your guy." Whether they sign him, they're going to look at him. Because I got to stay correct. And then Florida is the last stop of the deal, and it's going to be associated with guys that are working with the junior NBA, with the Orlando Magic, and those guys. And that's through a direct connection of mine. And there's a lot of NAI buddies of mine, a former assistant coach of mine, that is going to help me kind of run a very good event down there in Orlando. And plus, that'll be my last camp. Then I can hang out on the beach for a while because I'm going to be exhausted. It's going to be 9 straight weeks. So it's double
nice.
meaning.
National, you got a national tour or national circuit. You're not just in Texas anymore. You're in New Orleans.
No, but you know me, man.
Florida.
I'm obsessive, and I don't want to water it down. So the next step for me now which is what I wanted to get to 3 years ago, is to slowly branch. I mean, next year I would like to have a staff, like Gasso back in the days, they started having Sam, but they started having other coaches. So next year, like the point guard college, even though I'm not like them, I do something different. This is a global thing. A lot more kids, go
into this the event that's coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, the Terrell Palmers, the Kevin Garcias that are coming out, Tariq Muhammad. I mean, these kids are all. There's a lot more kids like that I am going to bust my butt if they finish on top to make sure they end with the right fit. But there's a lot more kids like that than there are, the Nunez or Crockett or whatever over at Warren. Those guys are known already. They're already on recruiting boards. What about these guys that can really play that I would sign? Mm-hmm. Who helps him? That's the uncommon approach. That's my space. That's my passion, is to find and I'm just using Kevin as an example. But here's another example. Garrett Smith. Man, there's a kid. He's playing at Lai Penn. They're 32-0, and he signed up, man. And I told his dad, shit, if it's a no refund policy, and if you don't get a refund because y'all won state, this was about 2 months ago. Because I saw him, I said, he doesn't pass the eye test. 6-foot white kid. He doesn't look like, you wouldn't notice him in that big ass showcase. You wouldn't. I said, that's a player. Okay, everywhere I put him, in my format, you see my format, he's the last one standing. There's 6'5" guys, ranked higher. I said, that's a player. He's been in my program. He's on my profile. He's He's the player of the year, defensive player of the year. They're 32-0. He's averaging 25. They're probably going to win state this weekend. So Garrett ain't going to be there, but watch Garrett at state. Point being is, I discovered him 7 months ago when he was a 6-foot white kid. How would I notice him with 180 guys with what he really could do? You know what I mean? That's what you can't replace. I'm a coordinator. I love coaching kids and running events. I love discovering talent and projecting where they'll finish. If they finish with their highest potential, I tell them, if they're playing Division I, yes, I have contacts at Division I, but I ain't no dummy. I ain't going to call my D1 buddies and send them to an NAI kid. Garrett is in my program. Garrett increased his own recruitment. He's probably in the gym every night on a gun, and it's paying off. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I look for those little things. And so, man, I'm excited about the event. And the other thing, this is my coaching season, so it ain't like sitting around doing all this busy work. I'm excited about Saturday because you'll know all this local talent, man. Antoine Gonzalez, remember those kids from the fall? They're all here. And now I want to see who's the baddest, the best. I'm excited to see who's going to be on top. Because statistically, 86% of top prospects last year got offers. Whether it's a coincidence, the post-camp setup, or just what that label means to college coaches, it means hunger. It means, which matters in college. It means toughness. It means growth, because they have to do that to be a top prospect at my camp. But we're not wasting time. 12 kids get their school paid for a week afterwards. That's results, man. That's what we want to do.
Yep, and that's what you've been able to do, and hopefully you'll be able to keep that up. But we'll go ahead and wrap up the episode for today. Thanks for giving us a better understanding of the camps. Thanks for giving us a preview into the UCExposure Camp that's going to be taking place this Saturday. Again, registration is already closed. The camp's already filled, but that's going to be taking place on this Saturday, March 12th, here in San Antonio at the Factory of Champions. If there's any coaches that want to come watch it, you can reach out to Coach V. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've sent some out, and I try to strategically put that time together. Nothing against that middle game. You're only going to miss one game, but the 5A and 6A championships are at 7 and 8:30, so you can do both. The games, a lot of coaches just want to come watch the games, which is fine. They don't have to watch my first portion of my camp, which gives every kid a shot, and that's another thing we didn't talk about. If you never got a shot, you refer to kid Nash. I don't know if he's good enough, but those kids are going to hear if you look around. If you're not as known, if you win in my camp something in the beginning, you're in my top game. So it creates a little bit more hunger and intensity. It should create a little bit more pep. But at the same time, the camp is ending before the 5A and 6A title games, and it's kind of after the first two games. So you're really only missing one state final game if you do come over to the camp at Factory of Champions between 2 and 6:30. And games will begin at 4:30. So they can come to a portion of it too. But yeah, I welcome them to come over, and there are probably 10 coaches set to come, and all 4 coaches on staff are current collegiate basketball coaches.
Nice. Well, great event like always, and maybe we'll get together after the event and kind of do a recap or a post-event type of thing. But looking forward to it. Again, I'll be there on Saturday, so we'll see how it all goes.
Man, I'm looking forward to seeing your next building you rent out, man. You are moving on up, my man. And that's because, again, I'm going to give him credit. Nothing you do, that's why I'm going to finish with this. Uncomfortable in work, there's no way around it. I mean, you can look at all the speakers. Being a little uncomfortable in work, there's no way around it. You could sell a dream, and you can showcase that's uncommon. Man, you've worked your way into this, man. I've known you 8 or 9 years. You're at the gym every night. You're filming. You're sacrificing to get this. Kids need to understand that. I sacrificed 6 years going against the grain of what people think's important. Results are results. And now they're starting to get a little bit more intrigued. The camps are getting better and better players. Yeah, I want Division I players at my events. And then maybe I can make you go mid-major. But again, you got to put in the work, man. And so congratulations on what you've done here. It wasn't an accident. You've been in gyms a large and sacrificing a large part of your week, every week, to help these kids with highlights and things you do. Well, that's how you're getting things are good. Good things happened. Uncommon. If you're going to finish in my top 9, you better be ready to work, and you better be ready to sacrifice. But that's college basketball if somebody gives you money. That's what I always tell kids. That's every day. If you ever get to that dream, every day that money is an investment on their part. That transfer portal's filling. So I like to consult and coach kids too. I like to help them when they're struggling as well. I mean, if they need advice, I enjoy that. But we'll talk about that on another podcast. Congrats. But again, this ain't no accident what's happening here. My man's been working for a long time, day and night, and that's how good things happen. So,
all right. Appreciate you, Coach. And y'all keep tuning in. And if you have any questions for Coach V, either for the camp or after the camp or just in recruiting in general, you can holler at Coach V. He's on Twitter at Uncommon.
Uncommon B-Ball. UncommonBasketball.com is my website. If you missed this camp and didn't know about it, there's other camps coming up. Oklahoma City ain't that far. Y'all go to AAU. That one's going to be at the Thunder practice facility. New Orleans. But there are some stipulations. So you got to email me if you're interested. But all my camps are on my website, and who eligibility to attend and all that. I mean, you can find that at uncommonbasketball.com.
All right. Well, there you have it. And again, thanks again, Coach V.
My man, we'll see you, brother.